Hey, and I just wanted to walk you through this because that's a good question. You've got a piece of trim that runs along the edge. So your question is, can you run the flooring up to that edge, similar to this, right? Um, so the answer is yes and no. The yes would be that if you left the correct amount of gap, okay, expansion gap on that end, and then you could put, some type of trim over the top here that gives this room to move back and forth, okay, as it expands and contracts. Nucor is a pretty stable product, so that's where I'm thinking this could work. The problem, though, without doing like a top trim here, is that if you were to butt this right up against this and just have that be your installation, it's either going to pull away and leave a big gap here, or worse, it could push out and push your trim off of the wall and open up your corners, like this corner would open up, and then it would pull back again, and you'd end up with a big gap here and your trims pulled off the wall. So the key to doing it this way is make sure you follow the manufacturer's recommendation for the expansion gap here, and then you can put something over the top, attached to your trim piece there, that allows this to be able to move back and forth. With the edge band piece, because we have a lap joint on that, we're locking this piece in place, and then any expansion and contraction will happen in that direction, and it'll just pull back to this spot. So you would have a problem if you glued it in on that side and this side, but because we're just attaching it, fixing it in place on the one side, it still gives it the room it needs to expand and contract, pushing it that way and pulling back this way. So that's kind of the answer, is that you could do this, but you'd have to have the expansion gap there, which would, mean you'd want to top your trim piece there with something so that this piece here could expand back and forth. I hope that makes sense. But as is, without having that top piece, you really wouldn't want to have this sitting, tight up against the trim like that, because it's gonna move around, and it'll push the trim off the wall, like I say, and then pull back and leave you a big gap there too.